Hello! In this video, we are going to talk about the back of the map. So basically we'll talk about this stuff, and we'll talk about this region over here. But first, we're going to talk about what's on the left side. Right, so as you exit the left house, right, exiting from over here, you have these sheep, so you just hit them. Right? Over here, we have basically two block piles. The note block stack and the pumpkin stack. With the note block stack, right, let's first talk about hiding spots you could see on top of the stack. Right, you should never see a note block go too high up. Like, for instance, too high up like this, that would be fake. You also shouldn't see two in a row in front of the stack. For instance, like this, or like this, that would be fake. Right, another spot you'll sometimes see is a note block back here. So that would be fake. Right, that's basically it for the top of the note block stack. As for the first layer, right, you shouldn't see a note block go all the way back here. That would be fake. Right, you also shouldn't see three in a row. For instance, like this would be fake. And you shouldn't see like the note blocks connecting these note blocks together like this or like this. That's basically it. Right. So next we actually have these this tree right here. If I quickly get into that tree, many times you'll actually see hiders, usually flower pots, hiding in this hole right here in the tree. So it's important to know that. That's basically it for that. Next we have the pumpkins. Now as for the pumpkins, really what you're looking for is pumpkins directly touching each other on the same layer. Sort of like what we went over in the previous video. Like for instance, if there's a pumpkin right here, it's just directly touching two other bookshelves on the same layer. So like this one and this one. In this case, same thing, directly touching two other pumpkins on the same layer. This one and this one. Here, it's directly touching one pumpkin on the same layer. Right, this one. Here, directly touching two pumpkins, right? This one and this one. Right, again, right here, directly touching this pumpkin. This one, in this case, directly touching two pumpkins. Right? So that's really all you gotta do in order to identify a fake pumpkin. Right? The only spots you really gotta memorize are this one, right? Because this is actually a really common spot, so you gotta memorize this spot and this spot. Right? These two stones right here should be free of any pumpkins. So this is a really common spot, so you should definitely memorize this one. The other thing you should memorize is the fact that you'll sometimes even find pumpkins hiding behind the stack, even though they obviously don't become solid. I like saying that, they obviously don't become solid, right? That's basically it for the pumpkin stack. So now, we're going to go over here and talk about this region. Right, we'll start with the block piles, just so we get those out of the way. Right, basically we have anvils first. For the anvils, the most common spot is to see an anvil in this slot. Right? That would be fake. You see three anvils in a row on the side of the stack like this, it's fake. Or two anvils in a row behind the stack like this, that would also be fake. And so that's really the whole idea, right? Another thing, just like for the hay bale stack we went over and the TNT stack we went over, there are two anvils sticking out on top of the stack. So for instance, if you see an anvil right here, this would be only one anvil sticking out, so we know it's fake. That's basically it. Next we have this bookshelf pile. Right, really important to know is this spot. It's definitely important you should know this spot. Really common to find hiders here. Basically this diagonal part should not be ruined, so if you see a hider in either one of these two spots, you shouldn't see the bookshelf on the left side of the stack, like right here up against the leaves. Alright, and the other thing is that there's two bookshelves on top of the stack, so if you see three bookshelves, for instance like this, then it would be fake. For these melons, the most common spot is to see a melon in this hole right here. Right? Another thing is you shouldn't see a melon in this hole either, so melon here would be fake as well. You shouldn't see three melons on the top of the stack. For instance, three melons on top of the stack, if there's a melon right here, that would be fake. Right? And that's the most important spots. But there are some other spots you might see. Basically, if you see three in a row on the left side of the stack, it's fake. If you see three in a row behind the stack like this, it's fake. And if you see two in a row on the right side of the stack, it's fake. That's really all you need to know, right, for the melon stack, right? Last block pile is the cauldron stack. Most important spots is if you see 3 in a row, like this, so cauldron in this slot would be fake, or 2 in a row on the right side of the stack. Those are the most important spots to know about, but some other spots you might see, for instance, would be a cauldron behind the stack. Make sure Sorry. Okay, yeah, just making sure it's on. Or a cauldron behind the stack, right? That's basically it for the cauldrons, and so this is basically the block piles. So we do have a few other things though. For instance, notice how we have these random melons scattered in these leaves. Well, you just gotta sort of memorize certain spots, right? For instance, right here you have 2 melons, and over here you have 2 melons here. So basically some common spots you might see is a melon in this slot, or a melon in this slot. Right? Another thing you might see is a melon behind the leaves, like right here. You even have flower pots back here sometimes. So that's another thing that you should know about. Right, and heading over here, right? Basically, you're looking for if melons are too close to each other. So melons should not be too close to each other. Like in one of these 2 spots, they're too close to each other. Again, if there's a melon right here, they're too close to each other, right? And another thing is you shouldn't see a melon right here. In this case, the melons don't look super close to each other, but as you can see, it's blocking the ladder, sort of. So you should never see a melon in front of this ladder. Another thing is you shouldn't see melons behind leaves, like in this stone area. You shouldn't see that, right? But sometimes you do. You even have flower pots back here sometimes. Over here you have a total of 3 melons. So if you ever see 4 melons, for instance, like this, then it would be fake. Sometimes you even have melons like right here. Again, they look evenly spaced out, so it's not super obvious. You shouldn't see a melon in this region, so that's important to know. And that's basically it for the melons. Actually, sometimes you'll see a melon like near this part. Hiders will sometimes hide on top of the dinosaur, right? All the way at the top right here. Usually flower pots, not ideal, right? There's a well right here, obviously. You die in it, right? I had to say that. That's basically everything for the back of the map. Now in a separate video, we're going to talk about the outline of the map, so you don't have to worry about that for this video, right? Now, one thing you should kind of know about in the back of the map is that hiders can actually get all the way up there in that little area, so you just launch your bow to do that, right? So that's basically it for the back of the map. And there's one more block pile I would like to go over, which is right over here, the note blocks and flower pots. So as for this, basically, there are a few spots you might see, right? Let's focus on the sides of the stack first, right? Notice there's 3 note blocks on this side, but there's also 3 note blocks on this side. Technically, it's like all the way down there, but it's that same sort of structure. You have a 2-block staircase. On this side, you also have a 2-block staircase. So you should never see that 2-block staircase disrupted, for instance, like this, or like this. In this case, sort of a double 2-block staircase. Right? You basically shouldn't see it squared off on right here or right here, is another way to think about it. Right? As for the flower pot spots, right? Basically, you see a flower pot on top of this note block, and this note block, right? Basically, there are 3 note blocks that don't have flower pots on them. One of them does, and then it's fake. That's basically it for that block pile. And so that's pretty much it for this video, and so that's pretty much it.